Hi and welcome. We're just going to have a quick look at doing a cutting list and a costing. So you can see on the screen here I've got my cutting list up there. Put the details on the top and then we'll start filling it in. So just a bit of background. Why are we using a cutting list and a costing document? Well, two reasons. One, we want to tell the wood machinists or ourselves as wood machinists what size of material we're preparing. So we're taking our rough sawn timber and preparing it to size, or we're taking our sheets of material and breaking those down. And the other reason we'll be using this is over on the right-hand side here, to calculate the cost of our materials so that we can then go on and do a quote for the job, win the job, and make some money. So first off, let's just look at this section over on the left-hand side where we're going to list all the components. So there's a couple of things here, broadly speaking. If you have two components that are the same size, don't list them twice, just list them once and put the quantity as 2 or 7 or 28 or whatever you need. The other thing I'd say before we kick off with this is that you want to use millimetres for everything and do not bother putting the millimetres in. Everything will be millimetres, so we just want a bunch of numbers in millimetres. And then you can put some machining details and materials over here. So to start off with, let's just look at our chair. Give that component a name, back legs. How many of them we want? Well, we're doing one chair, so we'll have 2 length from our drawing in millimetres, width and thickness. So some kind of material there, put material in there and any machining details. So we might want cut to pattern. You might see something like DAR. DAR stands for dressed all round, a few things like that. So this is the length of the material that I want, the width that I can cut the curved leg out of, and the finished thickness for that material. So we want to have the finished size in here in millimetres. And then you can just go through the whole job. List all the components, list their sizes. These sizes are coming directly from the drawings, and that's the finished dressed all round size. Tapered for that leg there. All right, so that's easy. You can go on and do the rest of your job now. Okay, so we're back again with the next stage of our cutting list. We've listed all our parts and listed all our sizes directly from the drawings. We've got our material and we've got any machining details. Now, this is all solid blackwood. Okay, so in this case, we're going to deal with lineal metres and the price per lineal metre. So just these two columns, the square metres and price per square metre columns, those are left for, that's right, sheet material. So we're not going to bother with them at all. So digging straight in. To do this, you're going to need one other thing, and that will be a price list for your solid timber. Now, solid timber is either priced in two ways: cubic metres or lineal metres. So a cubic metre is a block of timber 1 metre by 1 metre by 1 metre. And we work out how much of what percentage of 1 metre, 1 cubic metre our single item is, and then multiply that by the price. Now, the other way to do it is by a lineal metre, and that is a piece of timber that's 1 metre long with a specific identifiable end section. So 25 by 25, 75 by 25, something like that. So the lineal metre price for a 170 by 25 is $21.44, and that is 0.004375 of a cubic metre. So this little price list will show us both. Now this is the spotted gum price. We want the blackwood price, which is $27.50 a cube, or these individual bits per square metre, per lineal metre, pardon me. Okay, so for our first item on here, we've got 2 at 960 by 90 by 22. So we need lineal metres. Multiply the quantity times the length in lineal metres, so 1.82. Okay, so as you go, convert this to metres and multiply it out. So we're going to have 2 at 425.85. So that's 425 millimetres. Convert that to metres, 0.25 of a metre, 0.425 of a metre, and multiply that by 2 to give us our answer over there. And then we're going to look at the width and the thickness. So we've looked at the quantity and length. We now want width and thickness. We need to finished, square dressed, 90 by 22. So go to our price list. Find the next larger size, so 100 by 25 will work nicely. Look up the cost per lineal metre at $6.88 and add that to your price list over there. So 6.88 for that one. Okay, 48 by 48. So what's our next size on the price list? Slightly larger, so we can dress that back down to 48 by 48. So 50 by 50 at, again, you guessed it, 6.88 per lineal metre. Okay, then to get our price for each item, we multiply that times that and put the answer over here, and that will be $13.21. So that's 1.82 times 6.88. Okay, for this one here, we're going to have 0.85 times 6.88, 5.85. All right, so if you want to go off and do that, I'll work these out and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, and now finally, to finish this off for the solid timber, we've filled in all the details. So quantity times the length in metres, lineal metres. Look up your price list to get the price per lineal metre. Your price is the next size greater than the one that you need. So if we were doing these splats down here, we've got 5 at 434 millimetres, which gives us 2 metres and 17. We've got 32 by 20 as our timber, finished timber size that we can cut those splats out of. So if you go back to your costing sheet over here, blackwood, 32 by 20. So we can get that from the good old 25 by 38 here. That's the smallest piece that's slightly larger. You could go 50 by 25, but that's going to waste a bit of material. So 25 by 38, and then put the 261 per lineal metre here. Multiply your lineal metres times your price per lineal metre to give you a subtotal, or your line total, sorry. Add up all your line totals, and we haven't got a space for it, but we should. Subtotal 4136 plus 10% for waste plus another 10% for GST. Total cost for the solid timber for that chair, $52.77. Okay, add that up, and you can then put that into the costing for your whole job so you can come up with a quote.